As a summary of the book The Gingerbread Man, that there's a little old lady and little old man become lonely after living by themselves and with their cat for so long. One day, the little old lady decides to bake a gingerbread man. As soon as he is done baking, the gingerbread man jumps from the oven and runs away. He comes across many different obstacles, animals, and humans that want to eat him, and continues to run away. Will any of them finally be able to catch the gingerbread man? So, let's go to the guidelines for philosophical discussion. The gingerbread houses are very creative and decorative. Although they may be creative and decorative, they have been around longer than one person who thinks. Gingerbread houses have been around since medieval times. From what sources tell us, gingerbread houses have been through three major phases. It began in medieval times. Gingerbread houses was then modernized around the 19th century. Finally, its modern usage from the 20th century on today. Also, how we shape gingerbread today and what kind of tools we use to build a gingerbread house and how they are put in competition. Gingerbread houses began in Europe in medieval times. In that time period, people used gingerbread houses for many things. Ginger root was discovered in East Europe by Marco Polo, who found ginger grown on the Caribbean islands. Ginger can also be found in Africa, the West Indies, China, Japan, India, and southern Florida, where last ginger grow. In the 11th century, ginger was discovered and used as pastries, bread, ginger, and cookies. Gingerbread has spread throughout Western Europe during that time period. Also, the Crusaders were returning from wars in the Eastern Mediterranean, which made gingerbread a delicacy. They shaped gingerbread as a talisman so soldiers could wear it for battle and was also used as protection against evil spirits. In the 13th century, gingerbread was shaped in different forms by monks from Franconia, Germany. Also, in the 13th century, Swedish nun baked gingerbread to ease their indigestion in the year of 1444. The book The Gingerbread Man, as illustrated by Tom and Bloney Holmes, raises some interesting philosophical discussions. One of those being what exactly is an idea of possession. The world is full of many things. Things we have created, and things that were there to begin with. So, who is rightfully the owner of such things? Do trees become one's possession because they fashioned them into a house? Throughout the entire book, each individual character claims they are going to eat the gingerbread man. However, do any of them really have the right to do so? This may be hard for children to understand, but it brings up an interesting idea of possessional relativism. Who really is to say that land belongs to them? Does money and buying really provide one with a sense of ownership? These types of questions are good for children because they have to understand that just because you own something does not mean that it is truly yours. Something like a computer or video game that their parents bought them can easily be taken away. Every character in the story acts as though the gingerbread man is theirs. Children, they seem to have a sense of if I want it should be mine. With this book, it's clear that everyone wants to eat the gingerbread man. But does any character really have the right to eat him? As can be said with most things, it is a good way to help children learn the idea of possession. The gingerbread man becomes his own character and as such runs to be his own individual, not the possession of another. Children sometimes forget that they can have something just because they want it, and resorting to trickery to get it may become appealing. This brings up another point for philosophical discussion. Another good philosophical point to bring up is the issues involving trust. Everyone who was honest and said they simply wanted to eat the gingerbread man were left in the track of him running away and left with an empty stomach. The facts devour the poor unsuspecting gingerbread man. This brings up an issue with many children as they have not lost their innocence yet and sometimes fail to realize that people lie. One might ask, when is it okay to lie to someone? When should you be able to trust someone or not? The answer is quite incomplete and really just a matter of experience, learning the hard way. Seems to be the only way the gingerbread could have ever found out the facts was indeed trying to eat him all along. With children and their innocence, they have troubles knowing if someone is using them for their own gains, as if they have ever been tricked into doing something they didn't want to, like perhaps parents taking them to the dentist when they said they were going to Disneyland. This brings up another issue of why we shouldn't lie. The moral of the story is that we should not trust anyone without consideration. This story makes lying seem quite compelling, saying us with a simple bit of trickery, the facts was able to reap benefits from lying but failed to see the big picture. If everyone were to lie, it would become quite the untruthful and deceiving world to live in. If everyone were like the facts, tricking people into do something some harmful for them, we would have a very negative place to live in. And children can take this lesson as a good ground for morals. Why we shouldn't be deceiving to our fellow men is because if everyone were to do that, it would be a written thing for us all. This then allows children to get a little grasp of social contracts and start to understand the tragedy of the commons. This type of discussion can help show children why if everyone were to only look out for themselves, everyone as a who would suffer. If each character in the book were a fact, none of them would get anywhere just trying to deceive each other for the benefit.